Right, hello guys, welcome back. Today I have a first impressions video for the Barrow-Dyad, which just came out, like literally today. I was completely not expecting them to drop this weapon and the exotic mission today in Act 1, which is normally reserved for Act 3, which kind of makes me think that maybe this was a mistake? I don't know. Anyway, before I read the perks, the question that is probably on everyone's mind is how on earth do you actually get this weapon? And unfortunately, this isn't a guide, so I'm not going to tell you how, but I will just give you a kind of quick rundown. So you have to load into the Nether Explore, and if you load into the zone enough times, it doesn't matter which zone you load into. It could be the start, it could be the Court of Oryx, it could be the Mausoleum. Eventually, an instance that you load into will have a taken blight that you can physically enter. It's a portal, and within it will be a sort of small puzzle that you have to do, and it will kick off this entire quest chain where you have to do a bunch of busy work in the Nether, finding these kind of basically calcified fragments. I know my friend Toady is working on a guide, so maybe just wait for his. The exotic mission itself is actually pretty cool. Like I said, I did not expect them to drop it today, but as you get near towards the end of the mission, you will be given the Barrow-Dyad to use in the final part of the mission. So I'm going to show you exactly what this thing does, although it is not in its final form because it is a craftable exotic. However, it is basically almost there. The main exotic intrinsic is Panic Response. This weapon generates blight as it deals damage. While not firing, blight depletes and the magazine is gradually refilled. Reload the weapon to convert stored blight into blighted seekers. And then it has the secondary trait, Taken Divergence. This weapon resonates with your choices. Hitting 3 different targets generates a large amount of blight. Blighted seekers bore through targets. So let's take a look at what it actually does. So every time you shoot an enemy, you can see in the bottom left, it generates a certain amount of panic response. And if I leave the gun alone, you can see that the magazine just reloads itself pretty rapidly, but it also depletes the amount of panic response that you have. However, hitting 3 separate targets, as you can see there, gives you a very large amount of panic response, or blight in this case. And if we have the maximum and then choose to reload the weapon, we're given 6 of those seekers and we have a few seconds to detonate it. So let's just try here. There we go. It's a pretty large number of seekers that get sent out. So again, I'll just show you the 3 separate targets. So we'll hit 1, 2, and then 3, and it gives basically half the bar. So it's pretty easy to get to max blight if you feed into that mechanic properly. And now let's just test the damage on Carl. So let's just see, I'll get up to max again, reload. I have all 6. We'll aim at him and then boom, 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 boom. So they tracked to another ad. Okay, let's try that again. Seems like the tracking is pretty aggressive, I would say. You get your ammo back faster than the actual panic response depletes, which is pretty good. Okay, there we'll reload. So his health is about there. Let's just see how much all these bullets do. Not too much damage, to be honest. I was expecting a little bit more, but I have a remedy, which is why I've come on to Titan. Barrow-Dyad is an SMG, which means it can work with Peacekeepers to improve its damage, basically. So I want to see if there's any merit to this, because Peacekeepers basically doubles your damage. So let's see if it's worth doing that at all. We'll try and build some panic response stacks here. I'll get to low in the mag, let it reload a little bit, get it all the way to the top. There we go. Now I can fully reload if Carl doesn't kill me. And let's just see if this improves the damage at all. I mean, it looks cool. It looks very flashy. But at the same time, is this doing a lot of damage? You know, I think we ought to go test this versus Greg, maybe with a bit of bolt charge added in. I think that could do it. Perhaps if we were on Arc Titan and we used Peacekeepers with the Storm's Keep, then we can see how much damage this thing does. Okay, so I only have 1 surge here, so the damage won't be perfect, but I just want to see how much this is going to do. In fact, I might be able to snag another surge. Here we go. Pop this down, swap loadouts, and then we'll go to town. See how this does. Probably have that for enough time. So this is just the SMG, just bolt charge. In fact, I'll place down another one of these. Just reloading. See, it does fill about, I want to say, half of the bar. Yeah, it's around half, maybe a little more than half. That's not bad for a primary SMG. I mean, granted, a fair amount of that is coming from bolt charge. However, I do have Peacekeepers on, so let's just see. 1.7 mil? I mean, that's pretty good. Of course, like I said, a fair amount is going to come from the bolt charge, but you know, why not try them together? Two new things. I had triple strand surge on here, then for the artifact it was just flash over to increase the damage of the bolt charge, and then volatile marksman to get my class ability back. In fact, I think let's probably take it to the Neo Muna Lost sector just to see how it does in that. But here, let's see, let's just fully reload here and see what this does. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty satisfying, I will say. I think you definitely need to build into the gun if you want to use it effectively, but I've got unraveling rounds going right now, Horde Shuttle, I've got it all, and it's actually feeling pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, these enemies are only like -10, so it's not the most difficult content in the world, but just to see if we can get another big group stacked up with this next one. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. Just with the unraveling rounds and the threadlings combined with the strand gun, this is pretty nice. I like this actually. Yeah, pretty destructive SMG. Pretty good. Again, let's see if we can get up to that maximum stack. There we go. Now I'll reload. Boom, 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 boom. Go for the same again. Reload. Boom. Yeah, I think this is pretty solid. I don't think it's the most meta thing in the world, but definitely a very fun gun. Of course, we don't have it fully unlocked yet, and actually I do want to show you the catalyst that it can get. So of course this is early days, this is the first day that the weapon has come out, so we don't have everything. Panic Response 5 is locked, I believe 4 is as well. It says that it's from the Dyadic Ascension Pursuit, but I think there's a problem with that quest, we'll get back to it in a second. But catalyst wise, you have High Impact Reserves, Hatchling, One for All, and Target Lock. Now I think straight away you can probably rule out High Impact Reserves and Target Lock. That's probably more of a PvP thing. For PvE, I'm looking at Hatchling and One for All. And I think, me personally, when possible, I will put One for All on it, purely because of this perk where hitting 3 different targets generates a large amount of blight. If you hit 3 separate targets with One for All, you're also going to get that damage boost. So I think that's going to be a pretty decent synergy. Could also go with Hatchling if you wanted even more threadlings, but as you saw in the previous clip, if you have Horde Shuttle and Unraveling rounds together, you're still making a pretty decent amount. This would just be a little bit of overkill. Outside of this season, could be better, but this season, I think One for All is probably going to be the play, and then it gets some grips and things like that. But anyway, what I was saying was, I don't think you can currently progress the quest past step 5 of 7 on the Dyadic Ascension, which is the quest that you get at the end of the exotic mission that you then have to go back to the shaping slab to obtain. We've already done a few steps of this. Again, unfortunately, no guide today, but this is just another busy work quest. You go and collect some things in the nether. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. However, we don't think you can go past this step. It says to collect an item from the Path of Resolve vendor, but there is no such item to be collected in the first place. So either it's bugged and it was meant to come out in Act 3, or it's just time gated. We don't really know. It doesn't say that it's time gated, but that's basically it. So yeah, overall a pretty decent weapon, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go with all of the evolved versions and the catalyst. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Your support means the world. And if you're really into the content I create, consider becoming a member of the channel, which not only lets you support me in the best way possible, it also nets you a whole host of awesome perks along with it. A massive shout out to these members up on screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.